Any update on Will and just how much?
I don't have update on anybody right now, unfortunately. I appreciate you guys all talking about the injuries this week, so thanks.
Mike, how much of a battle was this?
It was.
Mentally from start to finish.
That's what happens in this league. You need everybody, and you go through the season, you go on the road, and it's tough, and nobody wants to talk about numbers and records. That doesn't mean.
Foxborough Rush coming at you on a Monday. Mike Vrabel just saying it like it is. And look, a subdued Mike Vrabel, obviously, because the Patriots get the win yesterday, of course, defeating the Bengals 26-20. But they do it with several significant losses when it comes to injuries. We'll dissect it all right here on Foxborough Rush. Annabelle Hasselbeck, Jade McCarthy here with you on a Monday morning. Usually we're like dancing and vibing it up on a Monday morning, AB. This one feels a little bit different because it was a battle, right? And I think we heard Mike Vrabel, in his post-game message to his locker room, like, look, you got to fix the problems, identify them, fix them. You got to communicate. You got to go compete. I think that there's a lot of things that he and his coaches are going to go back and talk to the team about after the way this one played out in Cincinnati. But I think also the biggest question remains to be when it comes to some of those critical injuries. As I said, we'll dive into all of this, but reports, of course, start bubbling up. That's the way it goes. And here's the positive side of what the reports indicate. It doesn't seem to be season ending for Will Campbell or, for Jared Wilson. You can put him in that category as well. But obviously the left tackle, the 4th overall pick by the Patriots, a candidate for injured reserve, as this is reportedly an MCL sprain. MRI, of course, coming today to really make a determination and give Campbell and the Patriots all the information that they need. Mike Vrabel was asked about that report earlier this morning on WEEI. Let's listen to the head coach.
So there'll be some players that went out of that game yesterday that won't be available on Monday night. Hopefully we get some of those guys back. We get an extra day, but I won't be able to tell you much. I wouldn't imagine that Will's going to play in the game. I don't think that'll be something that'll happen. That injury is going to probably be more than a week or two.
So the reports that it was a sprain that are out there, no.
Well, I think
validity.
you have to understand sprains have different severities. Sprain, strain, not sure, but I just know that he's probably not going to be there Monday night, and I don't think it's going to be something that's going to keep him out. This is not career ending, but I wouldn't.
Well, not career ending is certainly a positive. Not season ending, I think, would be a positive because, we obviously all saw him carted off the field, towel over his head. You feel like, okay, this is an ACL. We're expecting the worst. I think that's where everybody's mind tends to go in that situation, AB. Some other things that I've read this morning would be targeting like a week 18 return or potentially after that, if the Patriots wind up with a bye. So there's positive and negative to all of this. But at the same time, this is football. I mean, this is a 100% injury rate sport. So you have to feel grateful that they haven't had to deal with a lot of injuries this season. And then you have to figure out how you move forward with the injuries that they now do have to deal with.
Jade, the Patriots have really been fortunate when you look at their health up until really last week and now. And I think when you hear Vrabel talk, I was looking for the word, and you used the word subdued. That is exactly the word that I would use to describe his tone after the game. And you're the first NFL team to 10 wins. You're on this crazy winning streak. Your team is exceeding every expectation, and yet you can just see the toll that these injuries really took on this team emotionally. And even just listening to Vrabel in that clip from the radio this morning, he definitely is giving us all that he knows in that moment, and we just will not know until we know. And I think for a lot of Patriots fans and probably even his teammates, you won't be able to take that breath until you know what the real injury diagnosis is.
Yeah, and that, of course, involves, the MRI that he has to have today. We don't know the timing of that, but it's just a reality. Like you gotta wait until you know, and everybody tries to speculate and this, that, and the other thing. That's the nature of the beast. But like you said, until you know, you don't know. So continuing to keep tabs, obviously, on all of that. But you mentioned the toll that the injuries took on this team. I think we could feel that from all of them. And yeah, like you still got to be proud that you went out there and you're the first team to 10 wins. That's huge. Like, Vrabel said in the locker room after, like, that was a goal and we did it. Maybe, and you got to win games ugly in this league, right? I think he said, like, there's going to be some dirty wins, right? Like, it's not always going to be pretty. But they're the first team to 10 wins, and the injuries do take the toll. And I thought Drake Maye really exhibited both of those things as he spoke to reporters after this game.
Yeah, that's what this league's about. Battling adversity. I gave him one earlier in the game, just battling back that next drive, and I'm just trying to be that next play mentality. That's what coach is preaching all the time. Battling back from good plays, battling back from bad plays, and proud of our defense for stepping up. They stepped up big time, and like I said, it's next men up. We got a lot of guys come in and play, and make plays, and help us out. So just proud of them, and just good to get a win and good to get that 10th win.
How emotional was it to see both Jared and Will, go down and get carted off and what they were going through?
Man, I love those guys, man. It's they're gonna be all right. I think that's the big thing about those guys. They're gonna work hard and they're gonna be back, and they've done such a good job for us this year, man. I love those guys. Will and Jared, they've been meant a lot to me. I've got to know them in different ways, and it hurts. It's disappointing, man. But hey, that's this game. That's that's life, and they'll bounce back and help us down the road.
I think in so many ways, it's a microcosm of everything that the Patriots are going through, right? In the sense of they did get down in this game, and it's that notion of you got to have a short memory, right? Like, how quickly can you forget the play that just happened and go out there and focus on the play that is in front of you and be present? And it's the same kind of thing on a larger aspect here with some critical injuries, of course, because how quickly can you move past the fact that, gosh, this really stinks, and not let it weight the team down and go out there and be ready for the New York Giants come Monday night?
Yeah, it's being that unfazed when adversity hits, whether it's in the game and you throw an interception and you need to respond, which Drake Maye did, or it's when your teammate suffers a serious injury and you see that like emotional toll, take part on your team. It's what the best teams are able to do, have that next man up mentality, move on. And Vrabel even talked about it, not taking the highs too high or the lows too low, really getting on to that next play. And he said it started with him, which, I thought was what we've seen from him all season since he landed in New England, back in New England, is that he's, taking the forefront on that. But that's really what it is for this Patriots team. And you're seeing other teams around the league that are able to continue with their success when players go down. And it's all about practice, right? If you have this mentality of, we're winning, I might not be the guy, I'm just going to be comfortable where I am, you never know what happens. You saw even Joe Flacco went down for a half second there, and the Bengals were able to continue their momentum in the game. So it's all about just having that culture through and through with your team. But yeah, being unfazed through what is now a really different part of the season that they're encountering.
Yeah, I think a guy that we've seen be unfazed in his rookie season is Trayvon Henderson, and just the way he's gone about his business, his learning curve. He was the leading rusher in this one, finished with 18 carries, 66 yards. It was not this like wow game that we've seen from the last couple, but he still obviously played a role in this one, as did every single guy who was out there. And he talked a little bit about the weight of some of the injuries that the Patriots dealt with in this one as well.
Yeah, it was a battle. It was a tough one for sure. And I try to just expect that going into each week, not looking at the record. I don't really pay too much attention to the records of the team because I know in the NFL, every week is always going to be a dogfight. And so, thank God we got through that and came out with the win.
Trayvon, how would you describe the emotions after a game like this, where you had a couple of your teammates get carted off, yet you win?
Yeah.
You come in the locker room. Sounds like you shared a great moment with Jelani on the FaceTime. Like, how would you describe the sort were the emotions of it all?
Man, this team has been through a lot. And I feel like a lot of times people can just look at us athletes as if, everything is perfect in our lives, as if we got it all figured out, but we don't. We're people who go through things just like everyone else. We're people who struggle just like everyone else as well. And I wish people can see that more. But it's kind of hard when people just see us as football players. And when we're humans, just like everyone else, we're no better than others just because of the fame and the money and things like that. And I try to help people understand that in the eyes of God, God loves us all equally, and we're all equally valuable to him. And so I wish people can see us more as humans instead of football players. But yeah, man, I'm praying for those guys, Jelani and his lady, and then Will and Jared, and just all those guys who got injured.
Look, I mean, just so level-headed, and I think that that's significant, for him personally as a rookie in this league. But I think that there's a lot of company on this team, that carries that mindset. And again, I think that just like it has helped them through some of the different types of adversity that they've seen throughout the course of this season, it should help them with the current adversity that they're going to deal with here moving forward as well, AB.
Yeah, and it's different, right, than the adversity that they were facing earlier in the season. So it is new in a way for this team that has a new head coach, new OC, practically a new quarterback in his first real season leading this team, new wide receiver group. And so I think when you go through challenges together, those are hard. But once you go through something, you can always refer back to it later and say, hey, look at how we got through that hard time together. And what you can tell from Trayvon every time that he's spoken, and just the way that you see this culture forming, is that they have a genuine care and love for one another. And that, at the end of the day, is what's going to help them channel those emotional moments into things that will actually help them on the field. And I think more on the X's and O's side of what we're seeing, just with Trayvon getting more of the start for this game, is you're still seeing him say, hey, I need Ramondre. Like, that's a guy that we need throughout the rest of the season. It's just not going to be all on me. And so you really see that holistically for the Patriots.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and I think that has really started at the top, right? I mean, like, Mike Vrabel from Go has been very clear. Like, we need everybody in here, and at some point, like, every single person is going to have to step up, right? I mean, we saw it from Carlton Davis, like yesterday, right? Like, late in the game, he stepped up. And they're always going to need players that are going to do that. Clearly, they're going to need some guys to step up on the line. I mean, New England had been fortunate in the sense that, the same guys had started on the line 10 of their first 11 games. That's not going to be the case come Monday night against the Giants. There's going to be some changes that have to be made because of the injuries that we're still waiting to learn exactly what they are. Again, reports indicate that it's in the, sprain, strain type of family, but there are different severities to all of those things. So, what does that mean? We saw it obviously mean some guys had to step up with Milt Williams out this week. What's it going to mean, moving forward for the next couple of weeks? You still look at the way this one ended, obviously. And I think what you have to take out of it is, though, maybe it's not a great win. Maybe it's not like a pretty win, an ugly win, a dirty win, whatever you want to call it. You still lose some critical pieces for at least a few weeks here, but you didn't do it and lose the game as well. So I thought like that was really significant because it could have been that. The Patriots showed a lot of heart in this game to bounce back from mistakes that they made, to shore things up late in this game defensively. These were things that they needed to do on both sides of the ball, all facets of this game, or else you're walking out of Cincinnati having lost players and you're walking out having lost a game.
Jade, I don't think either of us would have a smile on our face if that was the case, right? Like, you're already coming into this Monday a little more somber because of the injuries and maybe the way that the game went, but like, the Patriots are leading the NFL. Like, are you kidding me? I was even just thinking about this morning, just the storyline as a whole. No one ever was going to predict that we would be here come where we
Yeah.
are in this season with the New England Patriots. It is absolutely incredible. And a lot of that does have to do with the health of the offensive line and how well,
Yeah.
specifically on the left side too, Will Campbell and Wilson have been able to protect him. So it is an area for concern. But you're right. I think the tone that we'd be talking about this season would look very different. Also, what has Vrabel been saying? You can't give in to bad football. Like, you have to execute and take advantage of bad football. And the Patriots were able to squeeze out the win, right, against a team that hasn't had a ton of success this year. So I think, yes, it was a very back and forth game. And unless Patriots did come up with some defensive stops at the end, like you mentioned, Carlton Davis having an incredible last drive, it could have looked very different.
Yeah. I mean, and I think the good thing is that your goal, to be the first team to 10 wins is intact. Like, you checked it off, you passed that test, right? Like, how often do we put it in that frame of, did you pass the test of this week? They passed that test, and like, you don't apologize for any win in this league. And you do have to go out there and take every single team that you're going to play seriously, because these are all professionals out there. Like, I don't care what their record is. Like, they want to go out there and they're going to work their tails off to find ways to win. There's no such thing as an easy victory in this league. And, we saw that the Patriots sharing, of course, the tweet after the game with Drake Maye on it, right? 10 wins, right? First to 10 in the way that they were able to seal this one in Cincinnati, despite the fact that it may not have been their best win of the season. Hunter Henry, obviously, we saw him have a big game. He spoke about that touchdown catch after the win.
Yeah, that was a pretty good scheme by Josh and the whole coaching staff. Just called it at the right time and a great call. And guys protected. I mean, it takes all 11 guys. Guys ran the routes to clear things out, and spacing was good. So a lot of guys stepped up in a big way.
Hunter, it took the offense a little time to get going, but you and Austin really provided a security blanket for Drake today to finally get into his groove. What kind of pride do you take in being that type of target for him on a week?
Man, I take a lot of pride in what I do. I work extremely hard at my craft, and at this game, and I put a lot of hours into this, and a lot of hours with Drake too. And it was cool to go out there, make some plays, both me and Hoop, and be able to, provide a little bit of a spark. We need to be a lot better in a lot of, areas, but it was cool to kind of get things going a little bit.
We'll talk about some of those areas as we continue here this morning on Foxborough Rush. There's a glaring one that I think pretty much everybody in New England and around the league was like, "Oh, this is rather interesting." But you also have to trust that they're going to work to improve upon that. But look, the tight ends. I mean, we've said it so many times, right? Like, a couple good tight ends are good friends of a young quarterback in this league. And I felt we just saw that play out in real time in this game yesterday in Cincinnati, AB.
Yeah, the quarterback tight end relationship is something we love here in New England, right, Jade? And I think Patriots fans would love to continue seeing that. But you could just tell the joy that was coming from Hunter Henry and just how exciting this is for him after the game. He also talked about, I haven't really been in this situation in my career with a team that is having the success that they've had with this Patriots team. So it's exciting for him. And, you mentioned Hooper as well. Like, Drake Maye said, yeah, we have the 1-2 punch. So it's not just Hunter Henry. And I think that's what makes this offense so dynamic. You think about the wide receiver room. We mentioned Trayvon Henderson earlier. He didn't have the same game that he did the prior week. But then you have the tight end stepping up. So really the story for this offense is, who is it going to be this week?
Yeah, which is a great story to have, right? Because for any defensive coordinator trying to game prep to play the Patriots, it's that much trickier because you don't know necessarily how they're going to come at you, right? Is it going to be Trayvon? Is it going to be the mix of tight ends? Is it going to be, Kayshon Boutte, Steph Diggs, like who had a, critical catch in this one as well? Like there's all those questions that have to be, asked by a coordinator who's looking to defend this Patriots team. And I think that maybe the most striking part about it is that you don't have a lot of that like star power when it comes to names on this team, but that's not making life any easier or more predictable for defensive coordinators who are trying to get ready to contend with this Patriots offense, AB. I mean, do you see that any differently?
No, I think it's amazing. And I think the great part about it is the Patriots actually do. They have Stephon Diggs, right? And you have guys who are on the brink of being those household names. But that's what's so great is that you don't have to force Stephon Diggs the ball if he's not open. Right. And you saw that happen in the game. He was double teamed and it didn't go well. So Drake Maye has other options who can execute and help them win the game. It's actually amazing, Jade, that that's the situation in New England.
All right. The situation is also there was one area that vastly needed improvement, sitting there watching yesterday. So we'll talk about that. We'll hand out some flowers for some guys who obviously stepped up in this game. Talk about that area of improvement that is required. And it's a Monday, so, we got some overreactions coming your way as well, right here on Foxborough Rush. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back into a Foxborough Rush on a Monday. The Patriots' first team in the National Football League to 10 wins. A lot to be proud of there within that locker room. So we got to hand out some flowers on a day when, you need a pick-me-up, right? Like, you can't dwell on the hard stuff. You got to push forward with the things that are working your way, find ways to, problem solve for the other things, be solution minded. You could just hear all this stuff like emanating from Foxborough these days. Let's hand out some flowers for the guys who deserve them. Kick it off for me, would you, AB?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the guy that we really left off with in Hunter Henry. Career day for him, 115 yards, touchdown. Just the guy that you can always count on. Like we said, New England loves this tight end to quarterback relationship. It is the old faithful. Drake Maye calling him Mr. Consistent. He really was that spark for this offense when they needed it. Probably should have had another touchdown in the third quarter. That would have even skyrocketed his day. But just looking at the total product and all the hours that he said he's put in, not by himself, but also with Drake Maye, you're really seeing it. And you're seeing his excitement for this team and just the reliability that he provides when maybe you do need to get back on track. And it didn't look like a first quarter that Drake Maye has had in the recent games. So just seeing what his value is to this team on, off the field, in moments when they're winning, in moments when they're not winning, really, really valuable player. So I got to give it to Hunter Henry.
I like it. I'm going to give it to a guy that we mentioned, in the first block of the show today, and that's Carlton Davis, because he was so huge, in that final drive by the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. And I think it was Mike Reese who pointed this out, but in the first 11 games of the season, 3 passes defended. In the fourth quarter yesterday, 3 passes defended. I mean, you talk about a guy who stepped up at a time when the Patriots needed him to step up, showed that he could go out there and, help them win this game, right? Like, the Patriots don't win this game without Carlton Davis. I don't think that is overselling it. I thought he had significant contributions late in this game at a time when his teammates needed it. So I got some flowers for you here, Mr. Davis. Well done with your play late, particularly late in the game yesterday. Who else you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add some more flowers to his bouquet because he practically saved the game. He really did on that last drive. Like, he came up with needed stops. And that's an incredible stat line just from Mike Reese today, seeing the impact that you can have just quickly doubling his statistics in that category. But he has come up so big for the Patriots this season when it mattered. You look back at even in August when Christian Gonzalez wasn't playing, and earlier in the season, they needed who was going to step up and be their lockdown corner, a veteran guy. And then coming up big in this game for them. But I think something that stuck out to me was Vrabel after the game mentioning, hey, he got the penalty early. It didn't phase him. He came back and he played aggressive. He played refocused, finished strong, and really made an impact for our team. So I think that's impressive too, because sometimes when you get penalty, you might shy away. You might get in your head. You might not go for a play in that way. And look at what he was able to do. But I guess I got to give some extra credit to Marcus Jones for the pick six.
Yes.
You definitely can't go through this show without giving him some flowers of his own, and really a game-changing moment for the Patriots. I think after that, you could really tell some momentum shifted. There was a different level of energy from the defense, and hey, awesome. He's getting on the scoreboard a lot this season.
Yeah, he is. He is. I mean, I think, yeah, absolutely. You got to give Marcus Jones some credit. You could just, you obviously get the sense of how much the vibe changes with a play like the one that he had. But let's hear from Carlton Davis, because he deserves some time to like sit there and share after the kind of game that he turned out yesterday.
I don't get too many targets, but that kind of, for a corner, it's kind of boring when you're not getting targets. And, it keeps you on point when you're getting targets and you understand the ball going to be coming my way. So, I was kind of happy. Like, thank God, I can finally show what I'm doing out here, because a lot of times you'll be having good coverage, ball don't come your way, you ain't do nothing, but you did something, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and after the PI call, how good did it feel to have the 2 pass breakups sort of right after that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just telling him it lit a fire under me. I didn't want to be that guy. When you're on the island, it's just you out there. And the whole team is depending on you. Everybody's watching you. So I'm like, I got to step up right now and finish this game for sure.
Step up he did, right? I mean, like we said, hand the flowers over, full bouquet, coming your way. Well done. Okay. Needs improvement, as I like to say on the report card after this one. I have one significant area, but I'll let you kick it off, AB.
Ours might be the same, but I don't know, because obviously there were some definite wounds to, not, no pun intended, wounds to pull on here. I guess I'll go with just the goal to go situations. You're right there. The game would have looked extremely different if the Patriots were able to punch it in. And 2 of them, right? One coming up with absolutely nothing. That's something that the Patriots are going to be revisiting this week. But I just think with the talent that you have, the Patriots have to get something out of this. And really, the game could have been extremely different. We'd be talking about a very different score outcome if the Patriots were able to get touchdowns out of those red zone situations.
Yeah. Drake Maye talked a little bit about just getting back to fundamentals after this one. Here's the quarterback.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, they had they had some good stuff that I didn't do the right thing and didn't get us in the right look. So I got to be better. Got to be better at the line of scrimmage. Got to be better. Credit to them for catching us some. And like I said, I think I do my part and help us play cleaner football and punch it down there in the red zone. And I take that to heart, and I'm gonna be better.
Did you feel like the ball was coming out differently on some of the misses early in the game?
Not that I can think of. Sometimes just not trusting it and just gotta let it go. That's when I'm throwing it best and on time and feeling the best. So I know I wasn't very accurate early on, and found a groove, and just head back to the basics.
We saw it, right? I mean, we did see that lack of accuracy in the early going of this one. Just didn't seem like it, was his best day. Like I mean, everybody has not a great day sometimes, and that's what it looked like watching, I think, in the early going of this one. When it comes to the red zone offense, I mean, you cannot be a yard out and not find a way to get it in. And then you draw a penalty and you get a whole nother set of downs and you still can't find a way to get it in. I mean, it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, it feels like there's going to be a lot of practice time dedicated to that this week. And as there should be, it's just one of those things. Look, credit the defense. I understand. Like, I'm never going to be one that sits there and says, this is all on the offense and not getting through. You have to be willing to credit what Cincinnati's defense did. And you could see it watching, like, how proud they were of the fact that they came up with those stands at the goal line. I mean, you could literally like feel it through the television screen. But as a team in this league, as a team that is, has won 9 straight games, you've got to be able to score. in those situations. And we know Mike Vrabel's going to be aggressive. We've seen it, right? He's going to go for it. He's not always going to take the three. He's going to be like, nope, like, let's go for it. We've seen it pay off for them, right? I mean, you think about a couple weeks ago where they were able to double dip. He went for it, and then they got the ball again, and all of a sudden it was a very different ball game by the time, that like the I think it was the Bucks got the ball back. It was just an entirely different situation. But the reality is if you're going to be aggressive and if you're going to be at the goal line, you got to find a way to punch the ball in. Very simple. Like, and a big like NI.
100%. And you mentioned Vrabel, putting up the three, and there was this hilarious tweet that had like 3 screenshots of Vrabel basically calling the field goal unit out. And I think the last one was him just like doing something like this. Like he just was like, I'm uninterested. I can't believe I'm doing this, because what we've seen from him throughout this season is being the aggressor, going for it, right? And getting it most of the time. And so to see his reaction when he knew he was basically saying, all right, we're going to send the field goal unit out here, was pretty funny to watch his facial expressions.
Yeah. And I think to that end, I would give some flowers to Andy Borregales in this one. I just thought, he was 4 for 4 on his kicks, 52-yarder, obviously the long one of the day. But you got to give credit to the kicker. I always say it's, the lonely life of a kicker in this league. And I think that's what it feels like, right? Like they're off to the side, they're doing their warm-ups by themselves. You're not asking him to kick a game winner in this particular case. But the consistency with which he went out there and did what he had to do, and put those threes on the board when they were needed, obviously puts, the extra point up as well. Like it matters. That stuff matters. We see teams win and lose on a weekly basis, sometimes because of an extra point, and certainly other times because of the ability or inability, of their kicker. So you got to give him credit where it's due as well.
You have to. And I think you can look back to how the Patriots as a team handled when he didn't have a great start to the season, right?
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks were extremely shaky, but what did we see? Almost a shocking level of confidence from Vrabel, the guy who drafted him and brought him here. Everyone's like, we're drafting a kicker, right? But Vrabel knew what he wanted and saw in this player. And he had confidence. He even gave him a game ball after kicking he had the winning kick, but he also missed a big time kick in that same game earlier in the season. It might have been week 2 or week 3. And for him to be able to say, look back at where he was earlier in the season and say, because of the confidence that my coaches had on me, because of the confidence that my teammates had in me, like I was able to now rise to the occasion and remind myself, he said after the game, remind myself why I'm here in the NFL. I am here for a reason. Clearly, I am good enough to be here. And I think that matters, right? If the team turned their shoulders to him earlier in the season, rookie kicker, you missed extra points for us, the story might look completely different. So what you're seeing is just the power that belief in a kicker has. And like you said, it is a lonely position in that way. Every single week I watch NFL football, I'm watching these kickers go up in these big game-winning moments. And, they've probably had so many of these chances and opportunities in their life and done the same kick millions of times. I still cannot fathom the intensity of that moment. And it is harder than any of us could probably imagine. That's why you see Pat McAfee out there doing the kicks at College Game Day, because he's trying to show people like how hard it actually is, right? But I think a lot of what we're seeing from Andy Borregales is the confidence that the team put in him when it wasn't going well earlier in the season.
Yeah, no, I think without question. And I think, again, this is kind of where we started, but the significance of that belief and of that we're going to do this together, and we've developed this love and this foundation and this respect for the way we go about this game and the way we go about our business and the way we're going to go out there and play Patriot football. And that's something that Mike Vrabel worked to build. I think every single guy in there has bought into it. And that's what helps you get through the various types of adversity that will come your way. And obviously, they get an extra day because they play Monday night against the Giants, but they're going to have to deal with some of that, especially on that offensive line. And we all know, right? Like, won and lost in the trenches. And the Giants might be sitting there with the record that they do, and they might be, firing people, like they've added to that list today. But the reality is one, they have a pretty stout defensive line, that, like, their front is, has to be reckoned with. And two, I'll go back to what I said before. I don't care who you play in this league. That other team is going to go out and fight and try to find a way to rattle you and find a way to walk out with a win. So don't think that the New York Giants aren't going to be doing exactly that come Monday night. And we'll see, who the Patriots have, when it comes to players because of some of the injuries sustained yesterday. There's time obviously for that, but that sense of, we got this, we got each other, right? We all we need, like, that is going to permeate and I think benefit them throughout whatever this season continues to bring ahead of them. All right, we got to get a quick break in. Overreaction Monday coming your way when we come back. Plus, there is a Monday night game tonight, and I am pretty pumped up to watch this Monday night game. So stick around. We'll talk about that as well. Fox Rush coming back at you on a Monday morning. Patriots victorious, first team in the NFL to 10 wins this season. And what are they going to do with it? We'll find out. But, you got to smile a little bit. And I know we're tracking a lot of injuries here, and that's going to factor into my very first overreaction statement for you here this morning, AB. But any hope of New England playoff success has been ruined due to the injuries. Is that an overreaction in your mind?
Jade, I'm going to say that's an overreaction, but I just got to pause super quick because while you were just giving the overview of the Patriots and where they are right now, I'm thinking, is this what Commanders fans felt like last season? Like, is this what they felt like? Because it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. Yeah. I know we're about to talk about injuries, and I know that we already talked about some of the highs and lows of the game, the needs improvement, but man, like, bask in the glory today on Monday. You have an extra day to prepare for the next game, the New York Giants, but feels good to be talking about the Patriots today. But let's get to this injury report, because is it going to ruin their postseason success? It's definitely not helpful if your blind side is out. And I think going back to what Vrabel has said about the next man up mentality, this is the time to seize the opportunity for Lowe and Ben Brown, right? Like, if there ever was a time to take advantage of an opportunity in your career, now is the time when your team is leading the NFL, you're leading your division, you have a real shot at serious postseason success. And I think, too, when you look at who had a game in Hunter Henry, you want Hunter Henry to have the ability to go out there and score touchdowns and get first downs. You can't leave him in to block. Just with Trayvon Henderson as well, you see the power that the running backs can do for you in the tight end. So, I think it's extremely concerning, because if you do need more help now we've talked about the offensive weapons that the Patriots do have. You want to be able to use them. So is it ruining? I don't like that word for the New England Patriots right now. Is it concerning? Most definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely concerning. Anytime you lose your blind side, it's concerning. Just go look at the Chargers, right? And Drake Maye said not long ago that the offensive line, right, he said, is like the heartbeat of this team. Joe Alt, I call him like the engine of the Chargers, because it just feels like, the way he goes, they go that way. So it's definitely significant when you start talking about losing key components on your offensive line. Does it ruin what you have in front of you? No, especially because we're still waiting to hear ultimately what this is going to mean. Listening to Mike Vrabel this morning, he wasn't going to give much up. They're still waiting for an MRI and the results and all those things. But number one, it's not career ending, to use his words. So that to me means nothing.
Well, we went 0 to 100 there real quick.
I was like,
I think we all maybe he meant season and said career.
Yeah.
I do this
I
all the
don't
time.
know.
Probably
I
have
don't
done it
know.
5 times
We'll
on the
see.
show. But
Yeah. Yeah, yes, but and number two, I think anybody would tell you in this league that it starts to get tough when you start to lose your guys up front, because that's really where everything starts in this league. But you're still going to go out there and you're still going to look to make some noise with who you have, and the Patriots have put themselves in a driver's seat here. So to sit there and say that anything is spoiled or ruined because of injuries, I'm not buying it, and I don't think any coach is going to buy that either. The Bengals should have played Burrow yesterday. Overreaction or not?
I think it's an overreaction. You don't need to play Joe Burrow. Rest him. Like, you went out and got Joe Flacco for a reason so that Joe Burrow could get healthy. And Flacco brought the team back. Like, he was not the reason that the Bengals lost the game. Did come out with a messed up finger. I think they showed a close-up on that. I was like, please, I don't need to see that. Impressed by his strength in that moment for sure. But yeah, quarterback was definitely not the problem. Obviously, they had top wide receivers leave the game and not even be there. So I think Joe Burrow having more time to get healthy was definitely the move for the Bengals.
Yeah, look, I mean, T. Higgins had to leave this game, obviously, with a concussion. They were without Jamar Chase in this game because of the 1-game suspension for Spitgate round 2 in the NFL this season, as I have been calling it, which I can't even believe that
Great
we were
teaching
talking about the
moment
first
for
time,
young children.
let alone the second time. Like, just okay. But look, Cincinnati plays Thursday night. So the notion that Joe Burrow was going to be even back for that game, I think, was surprising to a lot of people, let alone potentially coming back yesterday and then trying to play again Thursday night on a short week. So no, I don't think that the Bengals should have played Joe Burrow in this game. I think they went out there, they played the other Joe. Maybe they didn't have Joe Cool, but they had Joe try to get it done, and we've seen Flacco do that over the course of his career. So no, I'm not buying that. Matt Stafford is the front runner for MVP. Overreaction or no?
Listen, he made a case for himself so far this season. I think he's only thrown like 2 interceptions and 3 touchdowns last night, but it is way too early to lock up any MVP right now. I mean, we're in mid-November, so I think we got to wait till we get to at least December and people start bringing out the Christmas music. I mean, come on, we're not even at Thanksgiving yet to be able to give any locked down MVP names right now.
My daughters were definitely singing Christmas songs over the weekend, just for the record. It's apparently already started in my house. Look, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say he's the front runner, but his name is definitely in the equation. There's a ton of football left to play, so everybody can, it's like when we start doing draft picks before we even get to that point in time. Like, so, I'm predicting this and I'm predicting that. Like, just okay, chill. Like, there's a lot that has to happen between now and MVP voting time. So is Stafford going to be in that equation? Yes, I would pretty much guarantee he's going to be in the equation. Does he win the award? I don't know. Like, too much to be determined. Here's another one that there's a lot to be determined, but we'll go with it. Pat Mahomes is going to lead the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. Overreaction?
Jade, it looked like that didn't look like it was going to go the way that it did last year, but they were able to find a way to win those close ones. They snuck one out against the Colts yesterday, but it helps you have Harrison Butker, right? Like, that's a plus.
Yeah.
You can't count the Chiefs out. This is obviously a massive long shot, but from what we've seen in the past, yes, this is a strong take, but they're finding a way somehow.
Yeah. Look, they had not been able to win a 1-score game. They were 0-5 in 1-score games this season. They finally won one against Indianapolis yesterday. They had to win that football game. Had to. Like, it's an entirely different conversation about the Kansas City Chiefs. And we had it last week, right? Like, 9 straight division titles, not going to be 10. I don't know how it is after they lose to the Broncos. They had to go out there and win at Arrowhead yesterday. And the Colts gave them pretty much all they could handle. Like, they never led in that football game until they kicked the field goal as time expired to win it. Could he take them to the Super Bowl? Sure. Like, I'm not going to say that he can't do that. Is it definitively going to happen? I don't know. Again, like, a lot of football to be played between now and then. Does the AFC run through Baltimore in your mind?
No, overreaction. I wonder who sent this one in. Probably a Baltimore Ravens fan who is just psyched about their recent uptick. But yeah, not giving them the AFC. I mean, right now it runs through the Patriots. So maybe Patriots fans hit the mailbag or something, because we're going to need some more support in that category. But really, Patriots could also have been the Colts if they didn't give that one away that we were just talking about. And you mentioned the Broncos. Yep. They're having an amazing season. Bo Nix is playing incredible. Their defense is what it is. They're 9-2. So yeah, certainly not running through the Baltimore Ravens. But right now, if we were to change that statement, it would probably be the Patriots.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I think Baltimore has put themselves squarely back in the conversation. Part of it is just because their division is what it is, right? It's so different for the Ravens than it is for the Chiefs, because the AFC West is stacked in a different way than the AFC South is at this point in time. So it's like for Baltimore, like, yeah, you can catch up. For the Chiefs, little bit different, right? I mean, you have the Chargers, obviously, who won all those divisional games early in the season. You have the Broncos, who have just been rolling. So things look different, but I don't see a scenario where the Ravens aren't there. I think they're going to find a way to be there, and we'll get to see them, in not very long here, because they're on the Patriots schedule still ahead here on the season. Jonathan Taylor will not win the MVP. We'll go back to the MVP question because of that performance against Kansas City. Overreaction or not?
It's an overreaction. You cannot disqualify anyone from one game. There are a lot of games in this league in a season, but man, he is having a season. 15 touchdowns so far. I think he's almost at 1,200 yards. It will certainly help him if the Colts continue to win and have this season and don't take that loss from the Chiefs and head downward. So, no, definitely an overreaction here. One game does not determine the trajectory of someone's season.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I still think it's a long shot that he even wins the MVP. I think, we've had this conversation about what Saquon did last year, and the fact that he didn't wind up winning it. Maybe he would have, of course, he had eclipsed 2K and he sat in that game, and Nick Sirianni said after the fact, like, well, maybe that would have been a lot harder had we not gone on to win a Super Bowl championship. Which, yeah, I think we all get that. But so frequently, like, this has just become a quarterback award. So I think it's a long shot that Jonathan Taylor goes on to win the MVP. But again, a lot of football between now and when voting happens, and he has plenty of time to, erase or recover from, not a great outing against the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, we got to get a quick break in Monday Night Football coming your way. We'll chat about the opportunity in front of the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, the opportunity in front of them tonight when we come back. Fox Sports Rush coming back at you on a Monday, and here's my question. What you got, Carolina? Seriously, I mean, they are waking up this morning. The Bucs lost that game last night. They also lost their quarterback in Baker Mayfield, who has to have an MRI on his shoulder because of it. And Carolina and Tampa Bay are both sitting there at 6-5 in the NFC South. So talk about an opportunity to go out there in San Francisco and take hold of the division. I mean, who wrote this story, AB?
No, Jade, when the NFL wipes their playoff picture, you're even looking at whether it's the NFC, the AFC, you're looking at those teams, you're like, what? Like, what is going on? There's that whole joke of like the behind the scenes script writers, the NFL this, you can't come up with this. You cannot come up with this. But something interesting that I read that I was really shocked by was that this is going to be Christian McCaffrey's first game against his former team. And I think, man, there's been some years. How is this his first game? But yes, hopeful for the Panthers. But man, when you think about that and you think about the emotions that might go into that game for him, the 49ers, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other stat that really caught me this week, in reading about this particular game is, and we saw Bryce Young have the game of his career, arguably, last week for the Carolina Panthers, and setting that franchise record with all the yards that he threw through. He's won 5 of his last 6 games, so this Carolina Panthers team has been far from an easy out. I mean, right? Like, they went out to Green Bay and won at Lambeau Field. The Packers were like, I'm sorry, wait, who just came in here and beat us? And they've found a way to keep winning. But Bryce Young, 10 career game-winning drives in the NFL. That's the most since when he was drafted back in 2023. That is not, if you had told me to guess game-winning drives in the National Football League since then, my answer would not have been Bryce Young.
No, I didn't know that. I'm shocked to hear you say that, but it shows you how quick of a turnaround, right, you can have as a team, but also as a quarterback in this league. You knew he was talented. He wasn't having success. He had to take a step back for a moment last season, and now look at what he's been able to do. He's playing his best football. So, yeah, it will be a good test for this San Fran team.
Yeah. And by the way, for the Patriots, we were talking about them sitting in that spot as the 1 seed. According to The Athletic, 56% chance of getting the 1 seed in the AFC and a first round bye. So if you want to feel a little better with some of the injuries and everything happening in New England on a Monday, there you go. More than a 50% chance of locking up the 1 seed for the New England Patriots. I'm sure Mike Vrabel will basically say, shh. We have so much work to do. Don't even listen to any of that stuff.
But we can listen to it and we can talk about it, Jade.
Yeah.
So we're good.